Thank you for joining us again on TVC Breakfast Saturday. To the papers now, let's check out the top stories on the papers this Saturday, beginning with Salient Times, leading with this story on the electricity tariff hike, which it says affects, well, they are quoting the federal government, which said that only 1.5 million customers nationwide are affected by the recent hike. But, of course, there still remains reactions, one of them coming from the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar saying the tariff hike will worsen economic hardship and that Tinubu's reforms have no human face. In the meantime, NERC, that's the Regulatory Commission, fines the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company 200 million naira for violation of new tariff order. Other stories are on Salient Times. Read ahead of the Ondo governorship race. Olushola Oke, one of the contenders from the ruling party, is saying here, marrying an Igbo woman not a crime. I'm a polygamist. Jigawa governor suspends commissioner over Ramadan feeding program. Jim Obaze concludes CBN probe, submits report to Tinubu as the president lauds the special investigator over the conclusion of the assignment. Now, KPMG, high interest rates may prevent Nigerian banks from giving credit. That's, another interesting one. And one from the entertainment scene, Burna Boy is fake, lacks integrity. That's according to media personality Shade Ladipo. To Daily Trust Saturday now, Nigerians reject what they call haphazard billing by DisCos. We are on Band C, but they placed us on Band A. That's a complaint. Minister Adelabu insists only 1.5 million customers will be affected, and AEDC fined 200 million naira for shortchanging consumers. The cover story, though, is on parents of Kano, Kaduna missing children crying for help. I can't sleep, father of 5 and his wife say over 300 cases recorded in Kano. Gunmen kill 19 in Kogi community, many missing. And there's a spotlight on Ijigawa community, cargo said to be wrecked by erosion. All right, you can check out all these stories. Saturday Times is next. Ripples, it says, remaining over hike in electricity tariff. It's insensitive evil, will worsen poverty. That's according to Atiku and some other reactions captured there. Federal government insists and explains further that this move is a step towards efficient electricity sector. My problem with Real Housewives TV series, according to Carolina Hutchins. High interest rate, that's another story there. CBN's treasury bills drying up funds from the private sector. That's according to the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. NYSC jam to strengthen credible mobilization process. Some people believe I'm deaf and dumb. That's from an actor, Jude Aurora. Of course, he has, been a household name across very many popular movies and sitcoms. Casualties in Kaduna as Shiite group clashes with police. Abuja Metro Line will be ready for commissioning by May this year. That's according to FCT Minister Wike. Nigeria records 1,580 human rights violations in March alone. That's according to the National Human Rights Commission. On Blueprint Weekend, the power tariff hike is still the predominant story so far. Will continue to subsidize electricity. That's according to the federal government. Says 2.9 trillion naira electricity subsidy unsustainable. And there's another quote from the federal government: reviews strategic team for more sustainable, efficient, equitable sector. Mining, education in focus as Tinubu receives letter of credence from new envoys. Emergency agency warns against aftershocks in New York in the aftermath of an earthquake. Abuja Rail Mass Transit Project 97% ready, says FCT Minister Wike. Domestic equity sustains bearish run, sheds 156 billion naira. Olubadan designates back in Ibadan meets kingmakers. Finally, with me is Leadership Weekend. Households brace up for tougher times following the 240% electricity tariff increase. And in the meantime, Nigerians call for policy reversal, Minister Defense hike, and FG Defense hike says it is paying 2.9 trillion naira subsidy, which is unsustainable. 4 dead, 20 injured as police Shiite clash in Kaduna State. And there is a spotlight on Nollywood actresses who have won the most AMVCA awards. Another edition is coming up soon. Emmanuel.
All right, now we move on to Saturday Independent. And the big story here says flood disaster, FG urged to collaborate with Cameroon on opening of Lagdo Dam. Residents of flood-prone areas should vacate now. Stakeholders warn. And illegal construction of flood plains should be discouraged. Engineers, they are talking. An Abuja Rail Mass Transit project sets for May inauguration, says Wike, why Okoloba crisis is very painful to us. Boweri, that as the Delta State Governor, they're talking. Electricity tariff, FJ still subsidizing power by 85% to poor Nigerians. The minister, they're talking outer speed enough to live well. All well, Alimola there. And let's move on to the masthead. Contrary to rumors of ill health, Olubadan designates Olakunleyin makes public appearance, and special investigator probing CBN on the Emefiele presents reports to President Bola Tinubu. All that on Saturday Independent this morning. Let's quickly move on to Saturday Telegraph. And the big story here says FG student loan faces obstacles. As ASU is saying now, we want grants for students, not loans. We are not consulted, says ASU president. Donks kicks against policy. It is a good development. Nigerians should let it work. Ex-VC, they're talking. Mimico, Deputy Speaker, and also Kano giving their take on the student loan initiative of this particular administration. Electricity tariff hike. Brace up for more increases, FG tells Nigerians. And on the masthead, EFCC files 26 count charges against Emefiele. Tinubu announces closure of special investigation of CBN. Court convicts Bobrisky for Naira abuse to deliver verdict April 9. All that on the front page of Saturday Telegraph this morning. The Nation newspaper this morning, EFCC slams 26 count abuse of office charge against Emefiele, accused of allocating billions of US dollar without bid. And special investigators submit CBN Pro final reports to President Bola Tinubu. And you can see the count from count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Olubadan designate Olakunleyin returns set for coronation. Impeachment. Edo panel concludes sitting. CJ awaits reports. Court convicts Bobrisky for abusing Naira. Sentences April 9. And on the masthead, we have electricity. 2.9 trillion naira spent on subsidy, not sustainable, says minister. And the federal government still subsidizing 85% of customers. Idris, they're talking. And NEC fines ADC 200 million naira over violation of new tariff. All that's on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Quickly now, let's move on to the Platform Times. And the big story here says Nigeria bleeds and 15 billion US dollar daily due to oil underproduction, as PTN warns. And Jigas suspends commissioner over Ramadan feeding program misappropriation. And Kwara government reaffirms ban on charcoal production. And NEC imposes 200 million naira fine on AEDC for tariff violation. And EFCC to arraign former CBN Governor Emefiele for alleged abuse of office. Kidnappers collect 2.5 million naira. New bike as ransom. Release bikeman, passenger in Ogun. And on the masthead, Ganduje fires back at Kano Governor over bribery allegations. FJ will continue to subsidize electricity. There, Adela Buddha's the Minister of Power, they're talking. And finally, from me here is the Nation Sporting Life. And the big story here says, 2026 World Cup qualifier, Eagles to battle Benin Republic in Cote d'Ivoire. And PSG ahead of Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United in race for Sime. And Nigeria 1, South Africa 0. Ajibade's goals gives Falcons slim advantage. And Old Trafford showdown, Man United, Liverpool set for renewed rivalry. And all that's on Sporting Live. You can get a copy of these papers and get yourself acquainted with some of the major stories on the front line of the dailies.
Right. So those are the headline stories across, some of the major newspapers in the country. Of course, Bobrisky has been trending over the past couple of days now. He had his day in court on Friday, and he will get to know his fate on Tuesday next week after pleading guilty to the offenses or to the charges leveled against him in terms of abusing and mutilating the naira. Of course, this is he claimed ignorance, and ignorance is not an excuse.
It's not an excuse in law.
It's not an excuse in law, but this is something that is a very rampant offense. The EFCC will definitely have its hands full, because now there are so many videos being splashed on social media of where there has been concerning scenes, party scenes of people, splashing money at people, stepping on naira notes, which is our commonwealth, and so it will not seem as if like people are insinuating that this is just
it's a witch hunt. Let me quickly come in and use the word the EFCC spokesman said on TVC News earlier this week, saying that this is not a witch hunt on Bobrisky. And a lot of people have been saying, is it the only one? We have quite a lot of people, we can't be mentioning names at this time, who are into this issue of naira abuse. But on the lighter note, the big questions a lot of Nigerians are asking, even you, Kemi, said earlier, is it he or she? This is what we need to know. I had the lawyer there saying she.
It could have been asleep.
Using the word she
Which
there.
Could have been asleep.
So we need to get to know, is it fully he now or fully she? Where are we on this case? Well, April 9 is just by the corner. We get to see what the judgment entails concerning the issue of naira abuse.
I'm not sure it's, well, so sorry to interrupt. I'm not sure it's related, but we understand that, because he was veiled from the point of his arrest and from the mock shots that EFCC released. You saw the way he dressed, and being a cross-dresser, he has always identified in dressing, particularly with the female gender. And of course, we saw the backlash, the award given to him at Eniola Jao's movie premiere. We saw the backlash, how the award was eventually revoked and given to a female. And right, so in court yesterday, we understand that the judge asked that he remove his veil because he was, all covered up, and there was a semblance of you are in court. There's a standard way you should behave, and then we also hear from people, sources that cannot be named, that he was put in a lone cell, because the question many people were asking,
and that's what I keep saying.
Would he be put in a male or a female cell? But we understand that he was, the lone inmate at his own cell. He didn't get to share with anyone, perhaps, in their own way, not to, harm anybody's interests.
Well, a lot of people have said that this may be a step to another thing, where the EFCC might also file fresh charges against him about this issue of...
no, but would that fall under their mandate? Because EFCC is tasked with financial crimes, and that's what they are focusing on.
We hope the federal government will also take that step.
I find what you just said instructive. The issue of could this be a sign of bigger things to come? Because this has already sparked a heated debate, and is not appearing to end anytime soon, as to the sentiments that the Bobrisky personality have hurt over time. despite the fact that there are laws, on ground about
being a cross-dresser
right.
in the
well,
country.
not exactly cross-dressing particularly, but this is something that we need to understand. If there is a law, we need to understand. The law has to come out in full force. There's the raging debate online as to is he indeed found to be running foul of the law. If he is, what is the government doing?
Let me to be on the safe side. Let me just come in.
Are they protecting him, or should the government come out full force and say it clearly that Bobrisky is running foul of the law, has flouted any written law under our country?
Under the Constitution.
Yeah.
But one thing we need to also look at is the issue of culture. We are blessed with rich culture in this part of the world, and we so much hold on to such culture. When you see a man dressing like a woman, you need to start questioning what has led to this particular development. So realize our culture in all of this. You recall that this same Bobrisky, anytime he's going to meet the father, when the father was alive, he had to change the kind of way he dressed. So at this time, we're seeing another thing. Look at this particular one. This is what he said. He said he is pleading guilty to this development. So I know when he has said he has pleaded guilty, there's this issue in law where once you know that it has made the conviction very easy for the judge.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
For the judge,
and especially with the evidence
verdicts
out there, it would amount to wasting the time of the court to come out to now plead not guilty. So thankfully we will get to hear the end of this case. And while the money laundering case, they just said it passively that an agreement has been reached between both sides to strike out, or for the court to strike out the last two charges that have to do with money laundering, because those would have carried a weightier
allegation.
Right.
Yeah.
But going by precedents that we've seen so far, it does appear that he might get a fine or maybe some form of community service to pay for the crime of Naira abuse. But of course, it's all before the court now. We'll know for certain next week when the proceedings continue.
But it's a warning for everyone.
Yes, absolutely. It is. You never can tell, celebrity or no celebrity, you never can tell when the EFCC will come down. So now that's another semblance. We've had like 2 cases. Now this is the second major case, and it's better to be safe than sorry. Right. All right. So you're watching TVC Breakfast Saturday. The show is far from over.